Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the YarCrypto late night live show. My name is Groovy, and once again, I have with me here today um, our friend Sterling. Hello,
What's
Sterling,
up? What's up? How we doing, people?
and our friend Legal Talent as well.
How you doing, people?
What's up, legal?
All right, guys. So today we had kind of a boring day in the price action department. But we just closed the daily here, and we have a few things to talk about today about BTC, Ethereum as well. And we have some interesting stuff happening as well on the DeFi section of the market. So we can start here with BTC daily chart. So we have drawn here our little range that we are following. Um, so we have our bottom range here 30K and our mid range 35. And updating on yesterday's live stream, we talked about how the 382 Fib level here, or Fibonacci level, was holding as support. So that proved to be true, and we did hold it as support. Our last daily candle that we just closed tried to get above the 35K range, but got rejected once again. And so we saw this huge wick on this candle here to the upside, and we hit exactly our line here that we have drawn here for the last couple of days as well.
Yeah, for the golden
So
pocket, right?
yeah, exactly. So this golden pocket is kind of this small retracement here from this swing high over here to this swing low. Um, so we're gonna keep this for a long time here because this is one of the most confluent areas of the current sideways movement and the range that we have. So as you guys can see, we are still holding the 382 level as support. Um, this is gonna be true until we have a daily close below this level. And in case we do close the daily below this, which by the way is the 33,600 level, if we have closes below this level here, we can expect the price to actually move down to the 32 range, or even the 30K again for another test of that area. So this is something to keep an eye on. And
Mm.
obviously, our next bullish situation would be to test the 35K again, and see if we can retake that level, um, and then potentially move up to higher levels after that.
Yeah. Just to add
Yeah.
to that too, if you pull up my chart really quickly, we have also, this diagonal resistance line that Bitcoin has been respecting for the most part. So, this is also something that's also bullish at the moment, respecting this diagonal resistance line. So, if we do break below it, that's when I'll start to think about, possibly looking for another support level other than the 382 that we've been talking about, the past few days
Yes.
here.
Mhm. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. We have that bottom support there as a diagonal line as well. Um, so yeah, we can actually zoom in to the 4 hour here as well, and I have this the same trend line drawn here.
Hmm.
Uh, so this is the channel that we have been following for the last couple days as well. And as you guys can see here, today we just moved sideways, to be honest, but we were constantly hammering this diagonal support here as well as the 382 level. And but the fight between the buyers and sellers happened to be like on a draw, I think, because there
Yeah.
was a lot of indecision here. The supply was absorbed up here, and the demand was absorbed down here. So yeah, basically sideways, a lot of indecision. But we did hold the support and the bottom of this channel as well. So if I would guess here solely based on price action, I would say we could uh, try and retake the 35 again in the next few hours uh, or the next 1 or 2 days. So that's something to watch out for. So yeah, this is basically the 4 hour as well. Not much going on. We still have the same kind of ranges that we were following for the last couple of days as well.
Yeah.
Um, Looking at some EMAs now, um, coming back to the daily here, we have the 21, which is the closest one that we have to the price action right now. And all of this kind of sideways movement that we had in the last couple weeks is sort of drew the 21 EMA very close here and kind of flatten out close to the price section. So this is also acting as resistance for now. And we were talking about it on the Discord earlier, how this 21 is also kind of squeezing the price in this little area here.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so it's possible that we try and retake a lot of times this 21 EMA as well as the other resistance lines. Uh, and we actually have a breakout in the next like days or weeks or so.
And these are the
Uh,
situations that we generally would look for, where we have these confluent areas in terms of the EMAs, fib levels, and other, long-standing support and resistance zones that we look for a breakout in those confluent zones. So this is definitely what we want to see, all these areas lining up together.
yeah. And well, a resistance level is a resistance until uh, the sellers actually lose strength, right? So
Mhm.
I think we're gonna see that at some point because we have been hammering this 35K level constantly, and at some point I think the buyers are gonna outweigh the sellers, which have not been the case so far. But when that happens, I think we can break through the 35K pretty easily, and the 21 EMA as well, right?
Yeah. And again, trading sideways is not generally a bad thing because it also allows other people to get kind of a little more confidence in the asset and stocks, given that the price is a little more stable at that point and more people tend to, want to jump in those situations, especially institutional buyings who are
Yeah,
looking for that stability.
yeah. If in case we retake the 21, then the next reasonable EMA for us to watch would be the 50, and the 50 is also closing together here. I'm gonna change colors here so you guys can see. Um, and right now the 50 EMA is at the kind of 37 and a half thousand level, and it's also closing in on this 21 EMA here. So yeah, these are two really important EMAs that we have to follow for the price to actually break through them, and eventually breaking the range as well. So yeah, keep an eye on these guys. For now, we are kind of focusing on this little range that we are at right now because we have to kind of break the 35K.
And a
Um,
basic note about EMAs, just if you don't know too much about the EMAs and EMA theory, you just generally want the smaller EMAs to be above the longer time EMAs. because then you'll be in bullish momentum at that point. Currently, the smaller EMAs are below because we had those crosses, and so now we're looking for it to capitulate and go the other way.
Yeah, as soon as the EMAs start to close together and move sideways, then things get a little more tricky because of the sideways movement. But it's gonna be easy to spot when we actually break all of them and we move in a sort of more bullish way in the price action. But yeah, so right now, since the sideways movement has been so pronounced, the price is kind of getting squeezed, and the indecision on the market is sort of a result of that, right? Because
Yeah.
we have a lot of resistance and EMA is really close to the price action, and then buyers and sellers kind of fight in the same area there. But yeah, continuing to the 4 hour here, the last EMA that we have is the 200, right, on the 4 hour. And the 200 is kind of in the same range here as the 35K level. So this is also kind of going down with the price, moving sideways. So this is also going to be something interesting to see because soon enough, this is going to be very close together to the 35 here. And it will be one more resistance that we have to break uh, along with the uh, price action, like normal support and resistance lines. Because if I put them all together here, you see that we have a lot of resistance in this kind of general area here uh, for the price, like this general area that we have been rejected from a lot of times. Uh, Now we have the EMAs as well. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how the price is gonna react to this. Um, but yeah, moving on to Ethereum now. I have this chart here, and we can start on the daily as well. And I had these three kind of ranges here on the middle to short term for us to watch. And you see that Ethereum is actually a lot stronger than BTC uh, because if BTC got rejected by the 35 and moved straight down again, uh, Ethereum actually moved straight back up in relation to that. And it broke the same level again, which would be confluent with the 35, right? Which is the 2200. So we have Ethereum right now feeling a little more bullish than BTC at the moment. And the daily here, we held this kind of support here, which also was confluent with this move in the past here, right? Uh, and ever since then, we have closed the daily here on top of this uh, golden pocket that I have, which is this retracement. I'll point it out for you guys here. From this point to this point here as well. Um, you could also make this other retracement here from the highest point here. But this is also confluent because we saw a lot of reacting to this level here. And since we broke this level on the daily right now, um, I would assume that Ethereum will come back to this line here, which is the 2280 level, and then test it again as support, and then come back up, possibly testing the 2400s once again. So this is what I'm looking for Ethereum right now. If we zoom in at the 4 hour, we can see it a little better. So this level is confluent because you saw that we had a pretty nice rejection here. from this level. So right now we broke above it and we are cementing it as support so far. If this holds, then the next move would be to the upside here and to the 2400s. But yeah, this is basically Ethereum right now. If we look at the EMAs for Ethereum as well, uh, we see the 21 is actually support for us right now. So this is a lot better than BTC. And the 50 is resistance right above us. Um, so the 50 is the one to watch for Ethereum right now. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and if
But
we
the
get
one
a
thing
move on
too,
to
if
the
I
upside
can
here.
pull up my chart really quickly
Yep.
for Ethereum, the one thing I have to note is that, currently we are trading above the EMAs at the moment in terms of the 200, the 50, even the smaller EMAs that I have on my screen here. So the 200 on my screen is this white line here, and then the 50 is the blue one all the way on the bottom. So before we were trading in between the EMAs, and it does look like we have broken above the 200. And like you said, we've cemented some support here in this zone where previously, if you get the arrow here, it's big arrow, but we had here, this previous rejection that we was talking about. And so that's a definite strong horizontal line that we have to look at for support and resistance, which, as you can see by the wicks here, the price is just getting absorbed. And there's a potential, if we hold the zone, we will see higher prices. And as we've been tracking for a few days now, we still have this W pattern, which is still in play and has not been invalidated. And so we're kind of waiting to see if we get to that price target of 25,000
Yeah,
or so.
exactly. Um, to be honest, guys, I think Ethereum right now is a lot better um, to trade than BTC, at least for me. Because, as Legal mentioned, we are above the 200 EMA on the 4 hour. Um, we are above the 21 EMA on the daily. And we have very little resistance, which is only the 50 EMA for us to actually move on to the
Mhm.
next one. So I think for Ethereum, the only thing that can stop us from going up from here is if BTC actually nukes again to the downside.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, if BTC keeps quiet like it has been for the last 2 days or so, then I would guess then that Ethereum can make a pretty nice move on it, especially with the news coming that we're gonna talk about in a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, Ethereum is bullish right now. I'm more bullish on Ethereum than I am on BTC. But let's see what happens in the future
Yeah, and
for it.
and also we had that rounding bottom pattern for Ethereum. So that was a bullish continuation pattern. And actually we're
Yeah,
seeing exactly that after that played out. We have seen Ethereum to BTC as well as Ethereum to USD finding support on key moving average lines or key EMA lines,
yep,
ribbons. So it seems as though that rounding bottom pattern was valid.
yeah. We had it on BTC as well, and this is interesting because a lot of people didn't know this pattern
Mhm.
because it's not really common for us to actually have it. Um, so if I can just pull up my chart here, I
Yes.
can show you guys really quick. Um, oh, sorry. This is basically the rounding bottom that we are talking about. So when you spot something like this, guys, this kind of U-shaped uh, thing where the price is just sideways, but it makes lower lows and then higher lows here, then you can kind of count it as a rounding bottom, so a kind of reversal pattern. If you backtest this, we pretty much never see it on the price action, but yeah, sometimes it can happen. So yeah, keep an eye on that as well. I think we can move on to some altcoins now. Um, I have BNB here really quick because I was following that this triangle here yesterday that I showed you guys.
Okay.
Um, and BNB, is known for the triangles.
Yeah.
Um, so we kind of got a little mess of price action here on the breakout because we had a breakout to the upside, and then we had a sell off back into the pattern, and then we jump back out again, and now it seems like we are above the pattern. So it's kind of strange, but
Well, I would say, given the
um,
fact that this was kind of like a triple top kind of deal situation in terms of,
mhm,
resistance. So this was going to be a real choppy area to get through if there was going to be a breakout.
that's true. Yep.
Yeah.
So we can count it as a sort of triple top as well. So if you draw a line here,
Yeah.
this line, we can see it's pretty much a triple top, and yeah,
So if
we're
we
above
if
it
we hold
now.
this, what would be the target for this pattern?
Yeah, so if we look at it as a sort of triangle pattern, then the target would be the this line here that I have on the top, which is the 375 to 76, which is confluent with these past levels here.
Hmm.
Um, we had this double top here that we broke to the downside, and now we have this triple top here to the upside. So I would say BNB can make a run here in the next couple weeks to this kind of level here.
Yeah.
But once again, we have to hope that BTC doesn't nuke and bring it all to the ground, you know.
Bring it down.
Uh, but yeah, if BTC keeps quiet like this, I think not only BNB but a lot of other alts can make a run as well.
And actually, looking at this chart, if I can pull up my chart really quickly, I have a chart on Matic, and if you, as you can see from this retracement that I have here, going back, from what's this, the 23rd of May. So we have this swing low all the way to this swing high here, and so you'll notice that we have been kind of going crazy on the 0.786 fib level. If I get my arrow here, so this is the 786 fib level, and as you can see, the price has just been back and forth, and much like we were doing with Bitcoin, it does look like possibly we had some like three line strike situations, but not quite in, very bullish situations. But the reason why I bring it up is because, it's a very similar pattern we have, and there's a chance that, given if we look over here on the weekly for this asset, and if we, oh, give me 1 second, the daily, went a little too far. Currently we are trending upwards on the wave trend over here on the cipher, but what I want to see is a little more movement to the upside of this triangle before I start cementing this as a proper pattern. So that's something
Yeah.
to look out for also with Matic, but we're at the bottom of the triangle, so it's still a little early.
hmm Yeah, Matic is one of the most bullish ones to take a look for sure. I'm keeping an eye on it as
Yeah, we're
well,
definitely going
for
to keep
sure.
tracking this one.
Yeah. I think
So
we have Aave as well, right? We have been
yeah,
seeing a lot of DeFi actually making runs in the last couple days.
yeah, so over here we have Aave, and from this retracement here, if we go from this swing high to this swing low, currently we're still, shy of the 382 fib level. But the one main thing to make note here with Aave on the daily, especially, is that we are looking bullish. Currently, we have, closed the previous candle above the 50 EMA, which is this blue line here. And the 50 is above the 200, which is what we want to see for any kind of bullish movement. But over here is where I wanted to actually bring up the weekly, because if we look at the weekly chart here for, Aave, there's actually been a buy signal that's been flashing here on the cipher. If you're not aware of the cipher, it's basically a set of about 5 or 6 different indicators overlapping each other, and there are some buy and sell signals that are not, gospel, so it's not something you want to use as soon as you see a green or a red dot, you're buying or selling. But there has been a buy signal flashing, so that's actually a really positive and bullish sign for, the upcoming, I guess, couple of weeks, 2 3 weeks, even a month, on
Yeah.
Aave's price action.
Yeah, I also have something on Aave here, because on the daily here we have been just moving up, man, on the price action here, ever
Mm.
since uh, June 27. We made a move of like 67% since then, since the bottom here. And so, but right now we are facing major resistance, and this resistance on the daily especially is very, very confluent, because we had touches on the past here, and then we had touches here as well, and then we had also a touch here as support, and then we had this resistance here, and then we had another resistance here. So this level is really, really, really important for Aave, and you can see it because our last daily candle, we tried to get above it, but there's so much selling pressure at these levels, and the candle just uh, ended up closing below this, right?
Yeah,
Um, so
because
it's
you
gonna
can
be
see the other
interesting here.
candles before it, the previous 3 candles, the wicks weren't as dramatic to the downside, and so
Hmm.
as you can see, once it hits that zone, there's a clear reaction to the
Yeah,
price.
it just proves the significance of the zone, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we can kind of predict some things here if we make a retracement here from the swing low here,
Mhm.
uh, to the swing high, and we get a lot of kind of points to watch. Obviously, the golden pocket is in the middle here, kind of. So the 240 level. So this is something interesting for us to keep an eye on. Um,
And generally, when we see zones like that hit, these round numbers like the 240, the 250, there are
yeah,
going to be areas you definitely want to look out for, because those are the psychological numbers.
yeah. So Aave here, the RSI is not really in a overbought state. We are above the 50 line, but the daily, I think, it can retrace a little for it to kind of reset the lower time frames RSI, which I assume are pretty high right now.
Hmm.
Um, and for kind of a retracement, I would say the 382 or the 50% are nice levels for us to have a bounce from, because especially the 38.2 here, uh, we have been seeing confluence as well in the past.
Yeah.
Uh, but always be careful, guys, with the 618, which is the, I think, most important one, the golden pocket. So be ready for a possible kind of retracement, even to these levels here.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't think it's really likely, especially with the news going on, which we're going to talk about as well. But yeah, Ave is looking bullish for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, so we can move on, but we're gonna keep on the subject of DeFi and Aave, because this move on the price action was not triggered by just, you know, price action, but there's some interesting news happening with the
Yeah.
DeFi space, and especially with Aave.
And definitely there are
Um,
some fundamentals to back it, so that's something to look
exactly. Yeah. So usually we can find some in these like major moves here. There's always some fundamentals that are attached to it. And in Avi's case here, there's this article that we have on Cointelegraph, and Aave hits 3 week high as the Aave Pro debuts for institutional lending. So Aave is gonna launch basically a version of its platform that they're gonna use for institutional lending, right? So that institutions can actually use the platform. Um, they're saying that the platform it's still going to be decentralized, but they are taking some measures here to actually facilitate the use for the mainstream, right? So it
Yeah.
says here that Aave hovered near its 3 week high on Tuesday, helped by the prospects of its foray into the mainstream through the launch of an institutional lending platform. Dubbed as Aave Pro, the platform expects to become a permissioned liquidity protocol by offering institutions, corporates, and fintech clients access to decentralized finance, which is DeFi. Um, and they are setting a some sort of rules here for this to happen. And the first one of them is following a thorough know your customer process, so KYC, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, some people might get problems with it, but as long as it stays decentralized and the platform doesn't completely change, um, it's good for the crypto market because it brings people in
Yeah.
and the mainstream adoption, right?
And at the end of the day, we do realize that there are heavy regulations, especially when it comes to fiat and purchasing crypto. So any kind of leg up that they can have, even if they have to do these regulations and the KYC, know your client, I think
Yeah,
it's overall, like you said, it's a positive thing because it's going to get other people who otherwise wouldn't maybe trust crypto or be a little bit wary to invest to be able to do so through reputable sources.
yeah. Uh, and the concept of DeFi is just too good, man. And well, when you can give access to people in this sort of way as well to a concept such as the DeFi concept, um, it's going to be very interesting and it's going to be useful for people as well to use it.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is very nice. The DeFi space can grow a lot from here still because it's just beginning the mainstream adoption, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I have high hopes for the future for this for sure.
I really do. You want to maybe let's get into maybe some Ethereum news with their improvement proposal, the EIP 1559 that they're going to be
Yep,
releasing.
for sure. So Ethereum, um, I said that I'm bullish on Ethereum, and
Mhm.
I think we all can agree that this news of the EIP 1559 can bring a lot to the platform and for the price as well. So we have a couple of things that we can discuss here for Ethereum and the London protocol. The first one is an article for Cointelegraph again, and they say here that Ethereum price can gain 40% on BTC, argues analysts, as London fork nears. So the London fork is the project, the proposal for the EIP 1559.
Mhm.
And they continue here saying that Ethereum could rise by almost 40% uh, in the coming trading sessions against BTC. So this was said by Michael van de Poel, from Amsterdam. Uh, so he predicts that the ETH BTC chart can climb from its current 0.05, 0.06 range to as high as 0.07. Um, so yeah, this is a very interesting prediction by him, and I think it's certainly possible, especially with the current situation on the price action.
Yeah.
Um, so for anyone who doesn't know what is the EIP 1559, right? It's basically something that's gonna affect mostly the fees for Ethereum. So uh, on the process of actually paying the fee, there's gonna be a burn of a certain percentage of that fee. So the gas
Hmm.
fees, right? It's gonna have this burn, and this is also gonna affect the supply of Ethereum. And some people are saying that it's gonna affect it pretty drastically, actually. Um, so it says here on the article as well. Due to impending scarcity, analysts and traders see huge upside potential in the Ethereum market. The bullish formula is simple. Ether's drying supply in circulation against rising demand would make it more valuable than it is currently. And as a result of that, the cryptocurrency has been rising against BTC so far into 2021, and it could rise even more with the effects of the London fork on the gas fees and on the supply.
Yeah, and
Um,
hasn't, there've been a rise in the holding behavior according to this article as well, and between ETH traders. I would imagine, getting prepared for this London hard fork and the likes of it,
yeah.
because if you look over
Um,
here, we have a chart, right, from is that Crypto Quant, right, on the
yeah.
no underneath for there, yeah. So if you could click
Yeah.
on that, we'll pull up that chart,
Yeah.
and this
This is
shows the actual
yeah.
decrease, in ETH supply in the exchanges, which overall, we're dealing with a simple case of supply and demand at this point. There's
Mhm.
going to be a limiting supply circulating, and so naturally the price is going to go up.
Yeah. Uh, and even without the fork being actually placed right now, we have been seeing a constant downgrade in the exchange's reserve, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have a couple of tweets here. The first one is from Anthony. Anthony is the founder of ETHUB. So he talks about here that the London network upgrade has been proposed to go live on the Ethereum mainnet on the 4th of August, 2021. And the final decision will be made at the core dev meeting on Friday at 2 p.m., right? UTC.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is something to look out for. And also, we have more detailed on the actually effects on the network and on the supply. First, there's this tweet from Croissant ETH, um, and he talks about here basically a kind of halving for the Ethereum, similarly to what happens in BTC.
Mm.
And he talks here like to think that the triple halving isn't even priced in yet for Ethereum. This concept describes how Ethereum will undergo a supply shock uh, equivalent to three BTC halving events in the next 12 months alone, with the transition to proof of stake. So,
Yeah.
for anyone who doesn't know, this is proof of stake. And we
Yeah,
can
because at the moment
actually,
right now they're at proof of work, which
yeah,
is a lot more network intensive to, add new blocks to the chain once the blocks is fully confirmed. So
Yes,
that's now it's going to be a lot easier, making everything a lot more efficient. So gas prices definitely goes down.
exactly. Yeah. And in this text here, they also mention um, that even without proof of stake, um, it will represent a significant reduction in daily market supply of Ethereum. And along with that, they say that uh, the current daily sell pressure is 22.3 Ethereum per day.
Thousand,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah, exactly. 22.3 thousand Ethereum per day. And they calculate here that using the same assumptions, the sell pressure after the EIP 1559 and before proof of stake will reduce to 15.7 thousand Ethereum per day. So the sell pressure after EIP 1559 and proof of stake would then drop to further to 2.6k Ethereum per day. And then this drop from 22,000 to 2.6 thousand is where the 90% reduction in supply comes from that. I used to calculate the triple halving, right? So um, they talk about here about the 30% reduction and as well as the comparison to the BTC having. Um, but yeah, if this proves to be correct, then we can see a major move on Ethereum based on all of this, right? Um, so yeah,
yeah.
and
I want to know when we moon too.
yeah, and adding up to that, there's even this tweet as well, and it says that over 9 million Ethereum would have been taken out of circulation in just a year alone if the EIP 1559 were live,
Wow.
when combined with the amount of ETH staked. Uh, so imagine when we have the EIP 1559 and the Ethereum 2.0 actually online
Yeah,
and running, right?
and
So yeah,
those fees actually getting burned, so it's interesting to see that deflationary, asset actually take into account at that point.
yeah. So this is very, very interesting, guys, for Ethereum. Um, keep an eye on Ethereum, guys, because the potential is really, really huge against BTC, especially.
Talk about
Um,
BTC actually, let's talk a little bit about Grayscale and their GBTC unlocking that's about to happen, towards the end of the month here. um, and what kind of implications that might have on the actual Bitcoin price. Because, we are seeing all these different altcoins and their potential bullish patterns playing out and possible targets. But if, Bitcoin does capitulate to this Grayscale GBTC unlocking, that's something that's going to be really interesting to see what happens. Because based off of the previous, times and that it gets unlocked, because these things are held for a 6-month period, the price has capitulated each time. So what do you
yeah.
guys think about that?
Yeah, so we have the article here on Cointelegraph as well about this, and they're saying here that basically, is BTC in danger of losing 30k, the 30k range, with Grayscale's big GBTC unlocking in two
Hmm.
weeks. Um, so they basically talk about the possibilities here of people actually selling more BTC
Yeah.
and institution investors
And
and stuff like that.
one thing to note for the people that might not know, but this particular GBTC Grayscale investment thing, it's actually currently trading, I believe, below, at a discount at the moment. So when it does unlock, we're talking about 140,000 Bitcoins worth of shares that get unlocked, and then, they can potentially sell. they're not probably going to sell everything, but there's going to be some of it sold off, and how much that is going to affect the price, and by how much.
Yeah. And they say here that some analysts, including the strategist at JP Morgan, they believe that accredited investors will sell at least a portion of their GBTC holdings after the July unlocking period, and thus weighing further on the ongoing BTC market downtrend. So yeah, they are kind of predicting that it's gonna have at least some cell power,
Yeah.
cell pressure from this unlocking. Um, and they continue here, and they say that that means about, as Legal mentioned as well, 140,000 BTC worth of shares will get unlocked by the end of July. About 139,000 BTC have already been released between mid-April to mid-June, as a period that also coincided with the spot BTC to USD's crash from around 65 to as low as 28. So while we were crashing down from the top, basically, which was 65, 67, we also saw that at the same time we had the unlockings of some
Yeah.
BTC as well.
About half of
So
half of it looks like, just
yeah,
just shy of.
exactly. So this brings the question that how high is the correlation of those two, right? Um, because if the correlation is that high, then we can assume that we can see some more downtrend action for BTC when we finish with this unlocking, the current one. So yeah, this is something to keep an eye on as well, guys. Be careful with that. But yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. Uh,
So, sorry, Groovy, but Jose
yeah.
Santos wants to ask us a question. He asks, do we have bullish divergence on the BTC 4-hour chart?
Mm, let's take a look at that.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I have the 4 hour here, and well, if we're looking in terms of RSI, then it's hard to say because the RSI has been following the price action sideways for a while now. But if we take a little zoom here, um,
Hmm.
yeah, if
Actually,
we're
if you want to pull up my chart really quickly, I have a
yeah,
divergence that is playing out. Actually, but it's not the RSI, it's the money flow index, the MFI, and it is a hidden bullish divergence where we have, just get this, I can show you guys. We have this point here to this low here. So if I just fix that up for you, get rid of that line. So yeah, we have this higher low here on the price action. And then for me, I have the MFI and the RSI overlapping. So we have here a lower low on the actual oscillator. So we have this clear divergence of the price and the oscillator doing the opposite. And in this case, this is a hidden bullish divergence, which
yeah,
some could argue that the price already capitulated and it played out currently, and we are hitting resistance at the moment. So that's something to look out for, because although it was a clear divergence here, and there's a potential that we could be printing more divergences coming up in the later candles, it might have played out already.
yeah. So I just saw that Jose actually talked about the 2 of July bottom to the 5th of July
Ah,
bottom. So yeah, if I can just get my chart up really quick here. So I just spotted that as well. If we look at even the indicator here, it actually pointed out that this is a hidden bullish. So we have the price action making higher lows, and the RSI is making lower lows,
Yeah.
and this is a contradiction. So it's a hidden bullish divergence. You are right, man. Um, so yeah, since it's from these 2 points here, as Legal mentioned, uh, there's a possibility that it already played out after this,
Yeah.
um, in the 5th of July, specifically. Um, so it's possible that the results of this divergence was this move here
Yeah.
to this
So
resistance.
that's something to take note.
Yeah. So yeah, for now, I would be cautious if someone is thinking of trading this hidden bullish.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if we look at the daily, our RSI keeps making kind of higher lows, right? As we were talking about, but we still haven't put a uh, higher high compared to all of this downtrend that we are having on the RSI.
Yeah. Which will further
Um,
just solidify the squeeze that we've been in, especially with the EMAs that we spoke of in the beginning of the episode, and all
yeah,
the other price action that's been happening. So eventually, they could
exactly.
only squeeze so long before it has to pop in one direction.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, there's a mix right now of bullish on-chain analysis data and some bad news with the some potentially bad news, right? With the Grayscale Trust.
Yeah, and especially
Um,
with the FUD, and you have the China crackdowns, and it seems like that China's also cracking down on companies that provide software, for crypto companies and services, anything, pretty much any kind of service to any company that does crypto now. They're cracking down on them as well, and so that's definitely not the most bullish news, but it's part of the FUD that we have to get through.
yeah, they are hunting down not only miners but everything.
Data
Um,
centers, data
yeah,
compute
exactly.
centers. They want the data.
Oh, we have Empreenda and Invest here, and he says Brazil. Yeah, man.
Brazil.
Olá, tudo bem? Yeah, Brazilian man. We have a Brazilian patriot here with us. Thank you for coming, man. Obrigado.
Welcome, welcome. What we got?
Um, so yeah, this is basically our RSI situation for BTC right now. Um, we can wrap it up here with some bad news for actually Binance once again.
Yeah.
Uh, and Binance has really been struggling with this kind of not only the legal aspects in the UK, for example, but also there seems to be a class action lawsuit that's going on against Binance from some investors, and they are basically uh, targeting the futures trading um, aspect and the platform on Binance.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they say here that the investors in the class action suit allege that they lost tens of millions of dollars due to not being able to manage their positions and view their balances during peak trading hours. Um, so
And
this
I'm
is
sure this has
something,
happened to a few people. This has happened to me before on exchanges
yeah,
where, you have high volume and there's something going on maybe in the news, and all of a sudden you don't have access to your assets that you may have in an open futures position, which is very frustrating, especially if you potentially get liquidated. You have no recourse at that point. So this class
exactly,
action lawsuit may bode well for some people, but I doubt that the little guys are going to be in the mix.
yeah. But it's kind of tricky as well because when we have this kind of things happening on the exchange, it's hard to say that the exchange is really doing it, or is it a fault of on your end, right? But they they see here that they say here that though Binance did reportedly allow users affected by the outage to request compensation, they say that the exchange was offering a pitiful amount for its clients who refused the laughable proposal. The law firm said that the investors would be willing to dismiss the lawsuit if Binance were to appropriately compensate them before July 12th. Also warning it would seek regulatory restrictions for the exchange in the European Union and Switzerland.
Mm.
So yeah, it's kind of tricky. I don't know if Binance is gonna really get in trouble for this, and or if they're gonna pay back. Um, but yeah, this is something that we
Yeah, it'd be
have to see
interesting to
how it.
see how this plays out.
Yeah, yeah, but some people are, especially on Twitter, are getting really worried about some stuff with Binance, especially on Europe.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, these exchanges, they have to protect their liquidity. They have to protect their ability to keep functioning in the long run.
yeah,
Um,
Yeah.
so it is just there is, if you look at the terms and service of a lot of these exchanges, you will see that they're really not liable for stuff that they have to do to keep the running of the company. When it comes to investors who might be in a trade, they
yeah,
have to protect their liquidity at all costs. Otherwise, this exchange doesn't work.
yeah. So apparently, there has been no response as of yet from Binance, if I'm not mistaken. At least they don't talk about it here on this article. So yeah, we're gonna see
Yeah.
how that plays out in the future for sure. Um, but yeah, I think
Yeah, I
I don't
think
know
that
if
wraps up the news for tonight. Unless you
yeah,
guys in the chat room maybe have some charts you maybe want us to look at.
yeah, exactly. If you guys have any questions, anything you guys want us to talk about, then you can put it in the chat. Um, or you can also come and chat with us on the Discord server. But yeah, guys, this basically wraps up all that we had for today. Um, Again, guys, thank you guys for so much for watching. Everyone who came here, thank you for my Brazil friend here uh, for coming as well. Um, and yeah, if you guys want to see any more content, you can access yarcrypto.com. We also have our news site, yarcryptonews.com. And we also have our Discord community, as I mentioned, where we talk all about crypto related stuff. So if you want to learn about crypto,
Hmm.
if you want to see live TA, or if you just want to have a talk, have a hang out with us, you can please consider checking it out. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching once again. Um, and yeah, this has been all from me.
Yeah,
Thank you
and this
guys.
is
Thank you
Legal
guys.
Talent. We had Groovy and Sterling. We're going to call it for tonight. Thank you
All right.
guys.
Catch you guys
Thank you,
tomorrow.
guys.
Bye,
Thank
Bye
you for
bye.
Keith.
joining. It was a pleasure. Take care.